Good morning. It's the 8th of November 2021. I'm David Burkett, the convener of SNP Peterhead. And today I'm here to talk about fishing. Because many things are said about Scotland, independence, the Union, the European Union, etc. So today I'm here to bust the myth that Brexit is going to save the fishing industry. Many fishermen, people in related industries and communities eagerly anticipated Brexit, then the end of the transition period as a chance to revive their industry. Well, that's now past, and it's clear that our fishermen's futures, as expected, have been sacrificed on the altar of the wider UK-EU trade deal. It's well known that the fishing industry has been declined for a long time. There are myriad complex reasons for this, but one of the most commonly perceived reasons was the European Union's Common Fisheries Policy, or the CFP. Now, this led to overwhelming support for Brexit in the fishing industry and the communities that are built on the back of it. Now, I'm a seaman, but I was never a fisherman, and the last thing fishermen need is somebody telling them how tough their industry is. But I will do a few quick points on the CFP, the EU and the UK and how they've affected local fishing. The CFP. Yes, it was deeply flawed. Yes, it was more about conservation and food security. And yes, it didn't adequately consider fishing as a business. However, the EU didn't set control measures for each nation. The EU didn't enforce these control measures at sea. But the EU made grants available for deposits on new boats in the 80s and 90s for young skippers to get their first vessels. The EU funded the Peterhead shiplift. The EU funded the second Peterhead fish market, which was knocked down in 2020. The EU funded the third Peterhead fish market back at the original site after the second one was knocked down. And sadly, when some skippers wanted to quit, the EU funded decommissioning schemes. Meanwhile, the UK managed fisheries badly, ignored the Scottish Fisheries Minister appointed to the first two Scottish Parliaments, ignored Alex Salmond when on two occasions he lobbied to have the devolved nations given the freedom to renegotiate or withdraw from the CFP, and finally, never, not once in 45 years of membership, did the UK government use their EU veto to get a better deal for our fishermen. And look where we are today. The first promise broken was that fishing access would be negotiated separately and would not be tied to any larger European trade deal. Then, in a move which shocked absolutely no one, Boris Johnson's government didn't negotiate fishing access separately, embedding it in the larger EU trade deal, while the minister responsible prioritised fishermen's futures lower on her to-do list than organising her local nativity play. The tapering of EU quotas says 2026 onwards. In other words, the presumption is there will be no further cuts in EU quotas after that date. There is indeed talk of annual negotiations on sharing fish. However, if one side refuses or reduces access after June 2026, compensatory measures can be imposed commensurate to the economic and societal impact of the change. So Boris Johnson's claim on Christmas Eve that the UK will be free to catch and eat as much fish as it likes from UK waters after 2026 is unlikely to ever become true. Sure, we could close off our waters, but we would inevitably pay a heavy price for doing so, as we'd be breaching the entire EU-UK trade deal and not just an agreement on fisheries access. So if you took more fish after 2026 or banned EU boats from our waters, we might find we have nowhere to sell that extra fish, and we'd threaten other industries and their ability to trade with the European Union. The deal recognises in effect what some people have been saying for years, that like it or not, the UK fishing industry is tangled up with Europe whether we are in the European Union or not. All UK industries, not just the fishing industry, will likely have a high price to pay if access to our waters is withdrawn after 2026 or as a result of failed annual negotiations before that date. Well, far from giving us sovereign control over our waters and who can access them, the UK government has surrendered to Europe. Now obviously I'm an independent supporter, so you could all be forgiven for thinking that I may be biased in thinking this Tory negotiated deal falls short of expectations. So if you don't believe me, try the take of the people most directly affected. Scottish Fisherman. Elspeth MacDonald, Chief Executive of the Scottish Fishermen's Federation, said, "This deal falls very far short of the commitments and promises that were made to the fishing industry by those at the highest level of government. It does not restore sovereign UK control over fisheries and does not permit us to determine who can catch what, where and when in our own waters." And this view isn't exclusive to the Scottish Fishermen's Federation. John Ashworth, from Fishing for Leave. "I keep hoping I will wake up from a bad dream and find that the contents are not true. Alas, they are so bad that there is very little gain in some places, and others none. One would think the document is a preparation to rejoin the EU. One could even say we'd be better off staying in." Now, this is the national view, but as the local Peterhead branch, let's try keeping things local. We all know who this guy is, don't we? Jimmy Buchan of the Amity Fish Company. Now, Jimmy felt so strongly about the European Union and the Common Fisheries Policy that he stood for the election for the Tories in 2010. He was in the Brexit flotilla up the Thames with Nigel Farage, but that was when he was a fisherman. Nowadays, Jimmy, in his new role as a seafood processor, is sounding less enthusiastic. Jimmy's a perfect example of why Brexit wasn't the solution the local fishing community were looking for. As a fisherman, he's all for it, but now as a seafood processor, his priorities, which are access to labour, transport and export markets, are very different. Without the transition from fisherman to processor, we're not sure Jimmy Buchan would have arrived at this position. We in the SNP and the Remain side saw it coming, but sadly many didn't, until it was too late. In summary, folks, once again, the Johnson-led UK government has, as we're becoming accustomed to, overpromised and underdelivered. Many are rightfully disappointed. If this is the best outcome we can expect from Boris Johnson and the Conservatives representing us, if you believed that Brexit and the Tories would save the UK fishing industry, you've not just been sold one red herring, but a good few boxes of them. It's often said that the enemy of your enemy is your friend. If you're a fisherman and you perceive the EU as your enemy and saw the Tories as their enemy, then it was an easy conclusion to come to, that they'd be your friend. But how has that worked out for you? Because the Brexit movement and the UK government, led by Boris Johnson's Conservatives, have lied to you. Your power at the ballot box has been stolen from you. And Her Majesty the Queen signed off on it to make it law. So the next time you approach a ballot box, there's something you must remember. The Brexit movement, the UK government, Boris Johnson, the Conservatives, and finally, Her Majesty the Queen all have three things in common. None of them are in the Scottish National Party. None of them are the fisherman's friend. All of them enabled this catastrophe. If you're a fisherman watching this, we can still help you, but only if you give us the power to do so. You all may have missed it, but even when you opposed us, we in the indie movement were there, fighting for you. We still are. What has become clearer than ever is that the only way to get the best deal on fishing, the best deal on farming, oil and gas, renewables, actually on all of the rest of Scotland's national priorities, is for us to represent ourselves in the world as an independent country. Thanks for watching.